Hey, this is Fox from Inferno Fox Gaming. So Jamie Owls, Jason the 13th, and myself went to the Nintendo Switch 2 experience in Dallas. As of the recording of this video, it was just yesterday that we were there. But we had spent the whole weekend to not only go to that, but also check out the National Video Game Museum in Frisco, Texas. It's like a suburb of Dallas. That was an absolutely amazing experience. I'll probably do another video about that at some point, but y'all are here to hear my thoughts and opinions about the Switch 2 experience. And if you like Nintendo content, as well as retro gaming, RPGs, and more, make sure to not only hit like on this video, but subscribe to my channel and ring that bell for notifications. I want to go ahead and talk about just like how long we were there. So we actually arrived at about 9:30 or so in the morning. Our tickets had stated to arrive between 10 and 11 a.m. We ended up leaving at around 1:30, so of course 4 hours total. And you got to think, a big event like this, we didn't just arrive and start playing games. No, they actually had a line of individuals that they would feed in, maybe in roughly like 5 to 10 minute increments. But the actual handling of the people and feeding people through and everything was handled very, very well. And it was busy, but it wasn't like, oh my gosh, we were so super crowded and just couldn't get to an empty machine or anything like that. It was handled fantastically. This is a huge credit to all of the staff that worked at every part of the experience. So we got fed from the main line into sort of like a holding or waiting area for about 15 minutes, where there were, I want to say, like 3 Nintendo Switch 2 consoles, handhelds, present there. And during that particular time, we were just each lined up and, hey, here's the Switch 2. Hold it, feel it. You can take the Joy-Con 2s off, you can latch them on and everything like that. My general thoughts about the Switch 2 and the Joy-Cons: the Switch 2, of course, does feel a little bit heavier. There was a marked difference regarding the size of the screen as well. But the Joy-Cons, the joysticks and everything definitely feel more substantive. There's more to them. And the actual delatching and clicking back on the Joy-Con 2s, yeah, honestly, I actually didn't get a chance to do that. Though Jason the 13th did during his time, and he actually thought that they definitely seemed a lot more sturdier and held on in there. My own experience with my OLED system is the fact that this guy right here doesn't stay on the rails. It ends up popping off as I just generally play. This is actually my second Switch system, and I got the OLED roughly around the time that it came out, so it's been, what, a little 4 years, almost 5 years, and I don't remember my first Switch doing that, so I'm hopeful that the combined magnets and the latch will help to keep the Joy-Con safe in there. Nice that it doesn't feel loose or anything like that. I will talk about a couple of the experiences using the Switch 2, but I want to continue to discuss my experience overall. Once the 15 minutes were up in that room and they were done hyping us up, because they were hyping us, they fed us into the Mario Kart World area. This was a really impressive area because there was about 48 of us, I want to say, and they paired us into twos where, of course, fortunately, I was with my partner Jamie Owl, so her and I were paired together, and they had us at a station with a single Switch 2 where we played a race together on the split screen, and then we had a chance to play Mario Kart World on individual handhelds, which means, of course, that with 48 of us and each in pairs, there were, 24 stations and 3 Switch 2s at each station. They were pulling out all of the stops to make sure that this experience was properly vetted and ensuring that we were all engaged. It was something I was really impressed with. But it doesn't end there. Not only did we, it was probably about 15, 20 minutes or so there. Not only did we experience that, they fed us into another area where all 48 of us each went to our own Switch 2, Mario Kart World, and TV. And these TVs for this part of the experience were not small TVs. They were about 47-inch flat screens. We each participated in our own 24-person knockout tour. This really was an amazing experience, and I confirmed with them, with Mario Kart World's knockout tour, each person is connected on their own individual Switch 2, and I confirmed with the person that I was there that they were connected through their own like wireless connectivity, not through a Wi-Fi and not online, connecting 24 Switch 2s together to have this experience. And I will mention that the whole knockout tour was completely seamless. There was no issues, there was no lag or anything like that. Unfortunately, I did get knocked out from the transfer from 12 racers to 8. I was so close, as you can see on this footage here. I was right there. Look at that. I was in first, and then I got bumped down to 5th, and then look at that. Just look at this. I ended up getting beaten out and ended up with like 9th, and that's how I got knocked out. Darn. At least I wasn't the first 4. You know, I'll be thankful of that. How many, again, I'm old. How many years I've been playing Mario Kart? Since the Super Nintendo days. I wasn't the first to get knocked out. I'll take it. As I mentioned during my Mario Kart experience, the first part where we were playing off of the TV together, we were using the Pro Controller. And I'll describe my experience with the Pro Controller a little bit later. There's a madness to my method. But I want to mention the second race before we did the knockout tour where we were using the Switch handheld. I did notice a difference in regards to the quality of the screen compared to my OLED here. I will say the blackest of blacks do look a dark gray. It is not pitch black because it is not an OLED screen. I was pretty impressed with the quality of the image. That was fantastic, and I have to hand that to Nintendo for having an excellent graphical quality with the screen itself. No issues with that, no slowdown again with the screen. One of the things with the Joy-Cons, again, during gameplay, never really noticed any issues or anything like that. No, the joysticks felt great, the buttons were nice and clicky. Felt pretty seamless, honestly, from Mario Kart 8 Plus on the Switch 2, the Mario Kart World on the Switch 2. Pretty much the controls were almost exactly the same, too. There were a little bit of gameplay differences with Mario Kart compared to Mario Kart 8, and kind of running through that. One of the things I really appreciated, which was awesome, was the fact that if you have a banana peel or a turtle shell, you don't need to hold down the L button to have it hold behind you. No, the game just automatically does that. Little itty bitty quality of life thing that was very much appreciated. I didn't have any of the special wall jumping or anything like that. Didn't see that, so I didn't experience any of that. So either I didn't know how to do it properly, or it just didn't have a race that did. I did go over one of the special items that has it's like food and it changes your appearance. That was pretty cool. It was like a speed boost during the time that I had that. Otherwise, it's crazy with 24 people, and with 24 human players, the item rubber banding is really, it was really atrocious, honestly. It's just the idea that, okay, a number of times I was in first place during the knockout tour, and of course, when you're in first in Mario Kart, oh man, those red shells, blue shells, and the lightning bolts will just keep coming. And when you have 23 people behind you, there's a lot of shifting from first out of first, way back in the middle of the pack. So it's going to be interesting to see if any of the main first player races are so it's like being a stickler for getting like those 3 gold stars for how Mario Kart 8 and 8 Plus were. You got to get like all 60 points. I'm really curious how that's going to be. The world, the tracks and everything were really beautiful. It had to have been like 1440p, and it was 60 frames per second. Again, didn't see any frame drops. I can't wait to get my hands on Mario Kart again. I was very lucky to have been able to get a Mario Kart bundle on a pre-order via Walmart. Again, very lucky. So come June 5th, I will be locked in for Mario Kart. though that $80 price tag, I don't know. My thought on that price, because I haven't talked about that here in Inferno Fox Gaming. I'm locked in for Mario Kart, but I cringe at the fact that I want to play with 24 other people. So the idea of 24 people coming together, each with their own copy of Mario Kart, if they didn't get the bundle and they bought Mario Kart separately, you're looking at 24 people spending $1,920 collectively, like all together. The Nintendo hasn't talked about anything about the sharing portion of the games, especially with this game. I'm really, really hoping it's going to be like a Mario Kart DS sort of aspect where, okay, you're stuck being Shy Guy, but you can do all the races. I'm really hoping that's going to be the case. Really, 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 really hoping that'll be the case, at least until everybody can get on board, not just with the Switch 2, but with Mario Kart. After they fed us from both the standard Mario Kart race to the Knockout Tour, we moved on to another specific location for all 48 of us. That was Donkey Kong Bananza. This was a really interesting game because I could really tell just how the game ran and just the feel of it. You could tell it was a Mario Odyssey team sort of game, but in no way does it play like Mario Odyssey. So what it is the Y button punches forward, the X button punches up, the B button punches down, and the A button just has Donkey Kong jump. And all of the buttons, all of them, I won't get into the minutia of what they all do, but they all do something. And I mentioned the buttons, the face buttons specifically, because the breakable terrain definitely is a whole thing. This really reminded me of my time with Terraria, where part of the fun with Terraria when I played it was just digging down and exploring and finding treasure. That was my time during Donkey Kong Bananza. During the time I played it, it was like that beginning Ingot Isle time, and then you sort of progress forward, and there's whole story beats. I skipped that because we had a limited 20-minute time there. Skipped all the story scenes because I saw it during the Nintendo Treehouse. Then it brought me to a different island area that sort of looked like a Bowser or a Koopa themed platformy area, although of course like daytime and whatnot. And it was just you could really like dig in and dig up, dig around. And that was a pretty cool experience because when you were digging there, you would find these sort of Bowser or Koopa looking treasure chests that showed you like map pieces of where you could find more treasure or some sort of artifact. DK himself, of course, climbs up automatically, so you don't really have to worry about that. Overall, really enjoyed my time with it. I know Jamie Owls was really looking forward to Donkey Kong the most, and she said that she had a lot of fun with it. That's going to be another one of those where I will definitely pick that up when it comes out and just really just get into it. I'm excited that this is Nintendo's own Donkey Kong collectathon thing, because that's what you are. It's taking inspiration from Donkey Kong 64's collecting sensibilities, but I don't know, making it fun. I during my limited time with Donkey Kong 64. Didn't have a lot of fun with that. But with the 20 minutes or half an hour I had with Donkey Kong Bonanza, I had fun with that, and it really was worth my time. From there, the experience opened up to a myriad of first-party and third-party games. And what they did is, when we came in, they gave us a lanyard, and attached to the lanyard was not only a placard that said attendee, but another placard that had 6 blank boxes, and any of the third-party displays that were manned, and each of these displays had a Nintendo Experience staff member added. They would sign off on it, and you could do up to 6 of them. One of the cool things is all the first-party Nintendo displays did not take any of these signature spots, which is really cool. So the first place that I had to go during this open area, of course, was for Metroid Prime 4. And for this particular experience, they had the Switch 2, but with the Joy-Cons and the wrist straps out, so that, as they have mentioned or alluded to during discussions, when you actually play Metroid Prime 4, if you decide you want to use a Joy-Con as a mouse, all you got to do is sort of twist it and then put it on a flat surface. Now you have mouse controls. So I, of course, skipped as much of the cinematics of the demo as possible. This features Samus coming to the aid of a Galactic Federation base, trying to protect an artifact from Psylocke and his crew invading in to take it. And not only that, but you have to fight a boss that sort of features the actual mouse controls themselves. My overall impression, of course, is Metroid Prime 4 is awesome. I didn't appreciate the switch of the X button from the missiles to, okay, it's the visor scan button. And I'm not a fan of the mouse controls. I'm thinking to myself, if I have the Pro Controller and I can play this, that's going to be the way to go. Because this is kind of like the claw. When I hold the mouse Joy-Con piece, I'm like this. It is not comfortable, and when you press the two buttons, it's kind of like that. Even just doing it with my hand here, it's like, it kind of hurts. That was my whole experience with that, and honestly, I don't see myself playing Metroid Prime 4 that way. Now, do I see myself doing any other game? It's going to really have to depend. There has to be a more comfortable way of experiencing that. Not everybody is going to play at like a gaming setup at a desk or something like that, such as a PC, which it is my general thought that Nintendo is doing with this particular system, in that it's an upgrade to sort of match those that are sort of not looking for a higher level of cuisine for their gaming experience, but really kind of, yeah, and also it being Nintendo at the same time. And maybe that's reflective in the higher $450 price itself. In my mind, when I compare the Switch 2 to my Steam Deck, I gotta admit that the Switch 2 feels more comfortable, and it weighs a lot less than the Steam Deck. During my time with the Steam Deck, when I first was using it, I noticed I would have, like neck issues or arm or shoulder issues, just because of not being used to holding the weight, especially compared to the Switch. And you guys who own Switches and Steam Decks will know, when you switch from one to the other, you can tell a lot of a weight gain and a weight loss. And that's sort of my thought with the Switch 2, in that they want to have that lean experience, but with that overall power of a more a more mid-tier console experience. Enough about that. Again, Metroid Prime 4 was a fantastic experience. Can't wait to experience it with the Pro Controller, which gets me into my next discussion about Cyberpunk 2077. Now, I'm going to fully admit that, I have not played Cyberpunk before. What was really cool about this experience is that there was staff from CD Projekt Red there, and even the gentleman that I spoke to, he had even said that when they were developing for Cyberpunk 2077, they were developing with and for a high-end PC in mind, and then of course had to do the legwork to try and dumb that down to, of course, Xbox Series X level, and then PS5, then Xbox Series S, then PS4, and stuff gets lost in the translation. What was really cool, not just about Cyberpunk, is this, again, gentleman I spoke to, a really nice guy by the name of Marcin. We were starting to talk about some fun stuff like Witcher 4 and another new IP that they're working on that they're really excited about. They're developing these with the current generation of consoles in mind. So like PS5 and the Xbox Series X. I was stupid and did not ask if Switch 2 was also in mind for the Witcher 4. I should have, but there's no guarantee that he even would have confirmed nor denied that. But developing with the current gen in mind is how CD Projekt Red will go going forward, and it's really a hard lesson that was learned, but again, a redemption act with Cyberpunk 2077 for those of you guys now that have played it in its current state. And speaking of current state, what I played for the Switch 2, I was really impressed with. Now, Marcin had said that this was not the 7-week-old build. This was another build that was not going to be the final product, but was even more refined than what was shown during the Switch 2 Direct. And it was a lot of fun. The gunplay and everything like that was super freaking tight. And that brings up my discussion about the Pro Controller. I pre-ordered the Pro Controller 2 for the Switch 2 after I successfully snagged my Switch 2 bundle. And I'm glad that I did. The Switch 2 controller definitely feels like a good leg up over the Switch 1 controller. Buttons pretty much felt the same, maybe a little clickier. The L and R button a little more clickier. None of the macro buttons were assigned, but they feel a little bit more satisfying to press than the 4 that were on the Steam Deck. I got to talk about the joysticks. These joysticks on the Switch 2 Pro Controller are freaking amazing. Of course, the Switch 1 Pro Controller, good solid joysticks, but there's something about the 2's joysticks that are super tight. Pretty much you turn in any of the directions. It of course gives back. It's almost like a quicker give back, a tighter sort of control with the both joysticks. Something very satisfying about that felt like I had greater control of the movement. So as I was moving my character in Cyberpunk, again, apologies, I believe the name of the character was V. Cyberpunk fans and CD Projekt Red, don't crucify me too badly in the comments section. I'm going to be playing it on the Switch 2 when it comes out. The movement was super tight, and the gunplay, again, with the aid of the Switch 2 Pro Controller, was excellent. The rumble feature on it was amazing. It felt almost like haptic, how the PS5 felt too. It's sort of that haptic sense to that. So whatever they've done to upgrade from the Pro Controller, it almost was like a DualSense Edge, but Switch 2 edition. Maybe I might be overselling it, but like the Pro Controller was one of my 3 biggest thumbs ups for the Switch 2 experience itself. Also in that section, it was a cordoned off section, that Cyberpunk. On the other side was Yakuza 0. Now I'm going to mention Yakuza 0 was the only section that Jason the 13th, Jamie Ells, and I didn't play. Funnily enough, because Jason the 13th didn't know about this cordoned off section for more mature experiences, I didn't laugh at him too badly. So, but yeah, he missed it. He said if he knew Cyberpunk was there, he would have played it. He already had his 6 games carted out. But one of the games that he did play instead was Civilization 7, and he, of course, used the mouse controls to play via the Joy-Con, and he liked it, thought it was pretty responsive. He's not really big into real-time strategy or those type of like Age of Empires sort of games, but he had fun with it. He also played Street Fighter 6. That was another game that was there that I didn't play. And one of the cool things with Jason the 13th is he's got an open mind when it comes to trying new things. It's something that a hard lesson I've learned when it comes to video games, and I'm grateful to him for teaching me that. He played Street Fighter 6 with motion controls, and he said it was a really wonky experience where, okay, you need that sort of precision timing with a 60 frames per second game, and just that motion with the Joy-Cons just kind of made it feel sort of weird and interesting. He's not really big into those fighting games, but he felt like it was worth playing. Also, he played Hogwarts Legacy, which, funny enough, he had not played any of the existing versions that had been released, and he thought it was fun. It ended with the broom riding experience, and I want to say that he also thought that was pretty cool too. Let me talk about the GameCube Classics, and this, like all the other demos and everything like that, and display units, 20-minute demos for each of the individuals. I didn't have to wait long for much or any of these experiences, including GameCube Classics, even though they only had like 2 or 3 booths for it. When it became my turn, I mean, it's obvious. What game am I going to pick out of Wind Waker, Mario Strikers, Soul Calibur 2, or F-Zero? I'm picking F-Zero. Come on. It's only one of the greatest of the F-Zero series in racing games. And I could tell the age a little bit. Maybe it was the settings of the TV itself. The races, though, I did not experience any slowdown or anything. It almost puts Dolphin emulation to shame because it was amazing. And just the whole fastness and experience. And plus, I used a GameCube wireless controller, which goes up for pre-order, I believe, on May 9th. And it feels like how a GameCube controller felt in the year 2001. That sort of tight triggers and everything like that. Great feeling C-stick and joystick. Just, oh my gosh. It felt so organic to be playing the GameCube again with that particular controller. I almost want to get it just to be able to have that, but I'm sure it would play really well with my Pro Controller too. I'll have to play around and see. Don't know if it's worth spending yet another. How much is the NSO GameCube controller? $60, $80? This is getting really expensive fast. But after my time with F-Zero, I had to do Soul Calibur 2, and I was having a lot of fun with that. And again, no slowdowns. Felt just exactly like how I played it 20 years ago. Oh my gosh, I'm old. And then I ended the rest of my time with Wind Waker, and that's fine. There's no screen widening option. I really do wish that there would be some sort of port of the Wind Waker HD version, but such as it is, it's nice just to have a version of Wind Waker on the NSO expansion pack, and it's because I'm already an NSO expansion pack member, great to be able to have that. From there, Jamie Owls and I teamed up and we started doing the mouse-controlled Super Mario Party Jamboree mini-games. There was also a section that used the attached camera. We didn't do that. We weren't worried about that just because, like, it was really noisy. There was a lot of, like, screaming and everything like that because I think there's an audio aspect of it. We've had enough of the whole screen capturing thing with the Kinect back, 15 years ago. We were good. We had a lot of fun experiencing a lot of the mini games themselves, and I'm happy to say that Jamie Owls and I, we won the set. We won 3 of the 4 games. So it was again, a lot of fun. Not sure it's going to be worth paying the $20 upgrade fee to upgrade our Switch 1 copy to the Switch 2. I'm not that attached to the whole mouse controls, especially the fact that they're going to be used to using their right hand to do the mouse controls. Now, I am left-handed, so I still use my right hand to actually use a computer mouse. I had to sort of acclimate myself very quickly to using my left hand as a mouse. Thankfully, being left-handed has taught me to do that, but overall, that was pretty good. I did not play it, but Jamie Owls did. Kirby and the Forgotten Land Star-Crossed World. It looks amazing. It is 60 frames per second. I don't recall seeing any of the characters animated in the background being that herky-jerky, less than 30 frames thing that the OG Switch 1 version had. An introductory level that Jamie Owls had played looked exactly like the first level from the original, just with some of the more, blue starry mechanic that the game has. Beyond that, it's 3D Kirby. It's one of the best Kirby games ever made. I absolutely recommend playing it. If you can't or are not interested in the Switch 2 version, the Switch 1 version of Kirby and the Forgotten Land is absolutely amazing. Can't recommend it enough, and this version did not disappoint. From there, while Jamie Owls was playing the Kirby game, right next to it was the single station that had Tears of the Kingdom, and the other next to it that had Breath of the Wild. And these are interesting because each station not only had the game playing on a TV, but also another version of the game on the handheld. And the staffer there allowed the player to play on the screen, and then once they've had, I think, 5 or 10 minutes on the screen, they would then move to the handheld. And I think that just so that the players there could get the comparison between, okay, here's how it is when you're on the go, and here's how it is on the TV, because one of the selling points with the Switch was that, okay, it essentially was like a mobile Zelda system for like the first couple months, at least until like Mario Kart and stuff started releasing. And so, okay, how does Zelda look on the handheld versus what we have on our memories? And from what I've seen on social media and YouTube, a lot of the people who've played Breath of the Wild, such as specifically like the forest area with the fog, noticed that there was like no slowdown whatsoever on both Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. I noticed that as well. The screen on the Switch 2 was bright and vibrant with all the colors, looked absolutely fantastic, as did the 4K screen that was displaying both games. Beyond that, it's Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild. While I didn't play it, I was able to watch and see others do so. I'm assuming it just plays exactly the same. I played Breath of the Wild through from beginning to end twice and Tears of the Kingdom once. I've got my 500 hours in. Thanks again to the NSO expansion pack. Both upgrade tiers are going to be available to me if I so choose, but I don't know. Maybe I might go back. I have so much in my backlog. I don't know, but I guess it's cool, the options there. From there, I decided to go to the Welcome Tour game. Now I'm going to state right on the record, this should be a pack-in title. The player is expected to play $10 for a series of mini games and tech demos that educate the owner of their Switch 2 on all the fantastic features it has. I find that a little bit penny pinchy in nature, and it's an egregious idea that, okay, 20 years ago, we can sell a system with Wii Sports attached to it and use that to leverage console sales, but we can't do that with the newest console here. I'm not going to get into the whole politics of what that means for the Switch 2, the power that Reggie Fils-Aimé had with Iwata versus how Doug Bowser is with current management of Nintendo of Japan. But I feel like this should have been something that was packed in. When you sell the system and you sell its merits, you then entice the player to want to be able to purchase more games. It's a loss leader. When you have a game like that is packed in, yeah, you lose money on it, but you then entice a player to buy more. Maybe Nintendo's logic is, oh, okay, it's only $10, it's not that bad. Or Nintendo's logic is, oh, I'm spending $10. Well, I'm spending $10, okay, then I might as well spend an additional $40 on Bravely Default Remastered, or another $70 on Donkey Kong, and just sort of pile it in from there. When the consumer's in a spending mood, they're just going to buy more and more. The idea that Nintendo prides itself on giving smiles to consumers. Consumers are not smiling right now with how much money that they're spending on just everything. And with extraneous purchases such as video games, some of that's going to be left at the door. Yes, pre-orders have gone super quickly, but that's the enthusiast crowd. We don't know if the regular mom who is working full-time, try to pay bills and get groceries and just live day to day can afford to get a Switch 2 for their children. Maybe that was the point. And this is really meant to be that more gourmet experience for the more mid-tier user, somebody such as myself who enjoys Nintendo, but he has a little bit of that extra money to spend on such an experience. Because again, I've been playing Nintendo forever, and I'm an idiot, and I'm a dinkwad. I've got that money, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to have that. I don't know if out of the 150 million of the original Switch base that they have, what percentage is going to be able to move on to the Switch 2 because of that price. My time with the Welcome Tour game itself was fine. Again, it's a series of mini games. The little mine ball thing is fine. The demonstration of Super Mario Brothers showing how big the 4K is compared to the original 1-1 level. It was neat. It was a nice little demonstration of that. But again, all of this showing off what Switch 2 can do, that was the point of Wii Sports. And again, I'll stop beating the drum on that and talk about the last game that I played, which was Hades 2. And I did get into Hades 1 on the Switch. That was an absolutely fantastic game. Hades 2 is more of the same. I mean, it's more of the same. If you like a 10-10 overhead roguelike experience, you'll love Hades 2. And if you played the first one, definitely work to try and pick up the second one. I really enjoyed my time with it. I will probably end up picking that up digitally, maybe if it goes on sale at some point. I think the first Hades, that's how I experienced that on the Switch. As far as I know, I don't think the physical copy of Hades 2, I think it's going to be another one of the key cards, which that's a whole thing. My view on the whole key card aspect, it's fine. I get where Nintendo's coming from. Nintendo's saying, okay, you have the key card, you plug it in, the game's now going to download to your Switch 2, and then as soon as you take out the game, you can't use and you can't play the game without the cartridge again. So that way, you could then plug that cartridge into somebody like, well, let's say your brother, your sister, whomever's your friend's Switch 2, and they can then play that particular game on their Switch 2, which sort of lends credence to the idea of that virtual loaning through NSO members that was shown off near the end of the last Switch 1 Direct. There was a whole thing to that where if you're on a family plan, you got 8 people, as long as you're in person, you can lend out games to one of your 8 people on your family plan for 2 weeks. This keycard thing is essentially the same thing, albeit physically and obviously with whatever time limit that you want. So that means if you sell your keycard, that's the game. That's the game, and whomever buys that used can then plug it into their Switch 2 and download the full game themselves, and they've got it playable off the game. All of this is predicated on Nintendo's servers being and staying up. Do we know if their servers are going to stay up always to allow their fans to download it? That's going to be the big question. Has Nintendo produced a robust enough network, and have they planned to continue the Switch line beyond the Switch and Switch 2 to be able to have this? And I think that's what this is building to. But I don't care. I want these games physically on my cartridges, because again, you look behind me, you see all these physical games here. That's number one. Number two, I've mentioned this time and time again, I'm old. I like my physical media. Having stuff digitally is nice if you want to be able to save on space. But again, I like to have, I physically have it, I own it, I touch it, it's mine. And if I so choose, I can sell it if disaster strikes and I need the money. I can't do that digitally. Obviously, there needs to be a market and that's a whole thing. But yeah, that's my kind of thoughts with the whole key card thing. I don't think it's the big disaster that I'm hearing online with it. It's another one of the many death knells that I'm hearing chime for physical media itself. I mean, let's face it. I'm a millennial. I've been through disaster upon disaster in my lifetime. Change and adaptability. I speak it. I live it. I know it. And we just know that's just that's life.
Now he's a philosophizer.
The only consistency about life is change, and physical media. I mean, think about it. Since the late 70s with cartridge consoles, after nearly 50 years, it probably is going away. Insofar as probably how albums and CDs are now, maybe it'll never totally go away. There will always be fans of it that will be able to that will support it, but it's not going to be how big it was, so many years ago. It makes sense for companies to move away from physical media. That's a whole nother video and whole nother discussion. But if I wanted to sort of wrap things up again, Hades 2 was was the last game that I had played. Overall, the games look great. I didn't see any graphical issues. I didn't see any lagging frames, but again, I don't know how discerning my eye is, but I also couldn't really hear anything because it's a large open area with all these TVs and a lot of people talking, and you got Mario Party going on over here with the screaming. There's only so much that I could hear with the game, so I can speak nothing to the sound and music quality, which sucks because I am a video game music aficionado. Especially with something like Hades 2, I would love to have heard how awesome that soundtrack was, especially compared to how great Hades 1's soundtrack was. I mean, it's really got me wondering how that is. But my big three takeaways, my big three positives: the Pro Controller 2 is absolutely awesome. I really love the overall form factor of the Switch 2 as a handheld, how solid the Joy-Cons were, and like how just not a higher quality screen. I mean, obviously it's not an OLED, but I really liked how the graphical quality was expressed there. That was number 2. And honestly, number 3, I know Metroid is one of my favorite series and it was great, but I'm going to say Mario Kart. I can't emphasize how fun it was doing the Knockout Tour and racing with Jamie Owls. Like, that was great. So the idea that on June 5th, when the console comes out and I can play Mario Kart right away, again with Jamie Owls on the TV, to me, that's just awesome. And I can't wait until that happens. The three things that I would say I really was lukewarm on, or I was really like, not really feeling. Again, Metroid Prime 4's mouse controls. I didn't really care for that. Can't wait to play that game. But with the Pro Controller 2, the welcome tour, insofar as that spending money for that, I kind of think that's ridiculous. And then the Super Mario Party Jamboree. Mini games were fun, but it's not worth even paying the $20 upgrade fee for the mini games for the mouse and the camera. The biggest positive surprise, again, was Cyberpunk 2077. Absolutely loved how that played. Felt great with the controller, the Switch Pro Controller 2. The responsiveness of that, and the rumble and everything, you really feel the gunfire and everything. Absolutely love that. And just graphically, it looked pretty good too. Can't really make any complaints or anything like that. The characters and whatnot were great. But yeah, overall, this absolutely was worth a trip. I really, again, feel super lucky that I was chosen in the lottery to be able to have this. It was definitely worth flying to Dallas with my partner and one of my great friends to be able to have this. And based on everything that you've heard me talk about, I've been rambling for a while. Hopefully you've been listening while working or listening while doing some other fun stuff. Let me know in the comment section below. Have I talked you into maybe looking into or picking up a Switch 2? Of course, once all the pre-order madness passes. Have I sort of influenced any of your decisions with any of the games? Would love to start a dialogue with you guys. Again, greatly appreciate all the viewers and everybody who takes the time to listen and talk with me. And of course, hope you have a fantastic day.